Welcome to Is It Any Good? I'm Cliff Chance. Sorry I haven't posted in a while. I've been extremely busy at my main job. Surprisingly, only having 30 something subscribers doesn't pay the bills. But with this video, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to might do my first TV season review. Talk about Game of Thrones Season 8, the final season. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched this season or aren't up to date on Game of Thrones, don't watch. Go get caught up and then come back and watch this video, and then let me know what you guys thought too. I'm not going to go into the plot of this season. Just going to start off the things that I thought were really good about the season, and then the things that I thought were really bad about this season. All in all, I kind of thought the season was huge disappointment, but we'll get to that in a second. First, we'll talk about the good things that I did enjoy about this. I thought pretty much all the scenes that involved Arya, Tormund, and the Hound were probably the best parts of this season. There was a problem with Arya in the 5th episode with me. I'm glad she was alive, but she's at about 10 times she should have died in that episode. But other than that, I thought she was one of the MVPs of this season, especially during the Battle of Winterfell. I thought she just showed what she is and what she's capable of as being a badass female in this series. Tormund, I thought everything about him was hilarious. His reactions with Lady Brienne, and then also when Lady Brienne chooses Jaime over him. I thought that was one of the better scenes of this season. And then I really enjoyed the Hound. I thought he showed that he's one of the decent characters in this universe or series. The way he reacts around Sansa and Arya, which is like this father figure. Like, he was just so proud to see of how they became, and he felt bad for Sansa, how she had been treated since the time he couldn't get her out of King's Landing. But then how she just pretty much said, well, if that had happened, I wouldn't be what I am today. And just his interactions with those two especially were just really highlights of this season. But I thought the first 2 episodes of this season were really well done. They were very story-based, not a lot of action in them. You felt for the characters. You got to know characters if it had been a minute since you'd seen the end of the last season. They just brought you back into this world very well. I thought they were just very well done. And then shortly after that, the past few episodes, it kind of goes downhill for me. Some notable, the way they killed a few of the characters, I thought they were the heroes' deaths, or the deaths that these characters deserved. Lady Mormont, I hate to see her go, but the way she went out was as badass as her character is. Jorah, he went out and got to do what he kind of get an end to his story. Theon, he had his whole redemption story. He goes from a character you don't really care for to one that you kind of hate, to one that you feel sad for, and then one that you're glad to see that he got the end that he needed for his story of redemption. The Hound was another one. He was another character that got to actually fulfill the story that he set out to fulfill for most of the series. I thought he was. I enjoyed everything that he was in with this. Even the battle with his brother, I thought that was a little over the top for me, but the Hound was able to come out on top and complete the story that we all want. He got the end that we all wanted to see him get. For the final episode, I really liked the way the new High Council is. I thought everybody that was sitting at that table, I was happy to see them all there. It's a pretty funny little scene in that final episode. One of the few highlights of the final episode for me. That's really all the good I have. The score for this season. I mean, the score for the entire series has always been great. The music matches up what's going on screen. It helps add to the tension, or if a scene's happy, it helps add to the emotion that you're feeling whenever you're watching different scenes. I thought this was just very well done. All right, now on to the bad. They're so much bad for me. The writing, like with each episode, kind of just goes further and further downhill. It just this entire season felt rushed. It should have been a lot more. It should have been a full season at least, if not giving us another season. I mean, for waiting 2 years to get what we got was a little disappointing. Number one, Daenerys' dive into madness. I know it's something they've been teasing for pretty much since the beginning. That Targaryens they go mad, and they've been teasing it. But her descent into madness was just so quick. Like it was over the course of like 2 episodes, and I had no problem with them wanting to make her a villain. I had no problem with that. It was just how they did it. She should it should have been over the course of the entire season, and it should have been a full season, not just 6 episodes. And it should have been, and that it should have been a slower descent than it was. I mean, she just goes from being all right to just not wanting to, excuse my language, but fuck everything up. And I didn't like that. It was just lazy writing, in my opinion. One other thing, my biggest problem with this season was they turned the Night King, this guy that they've been building as this supreme, ultimate villain for 7 seasons. They've been hinting at him, showing him little bits in here. Winter's coming, it's bringing the dead with it. And they pretty much just turned that into a plot device. Because they kill him off halfway through this season. And the way they do it is pretty badass, so it kind of distracts you from that for a second. But you sit there and think about it, his main purpose now is not just to be this ultimate villain that they've been hinting at, but they instead turn it to where his main purpose was to deplete the Norse army so that whenever they finally go attack King's Landing, Cersei, who didn't want to help because she figured we'll take over which army is left, we'll take on whichever army is left, excuse me. So that becomes his main purpose. That's what they'd have him do. And so then now they destroy him, so now they have the depleted army, and they go take on King's Landing. Well, they take over King's Landing pretty much with a breeze. The dragon just comes in and just starts blowing everything up. So it was like the whole point of him even depleting their army became pointless. So they made him into a pointless plot device instead of letting him be the villain that they've been hitting at for 7 seasons. And that really just irritated me so much. Because, I mean, and even the Battle of Winterfell was 35 minutes of the hour and 15-minute episode that it was. I thought, and then in that Battle of Winterfell, they show all the Dothraki get killed off. But then back to when they go to King's Landing, there's more Dothraki there. So I don't understand that. Another thing I was very disappointed with, Jaime's redemption story. They pretty much, they made you hate this character. Very first episode, he pushes Bran out the window. They make you hate him. They give him this story of redemption throughout the seasons where you kind of feel bad for him. Then he kind of turns a path. He goes up to Winterfell to help them fight when Cersei says, I'm not sending my army up there. So he goes up there by himself. Then out of nowhere, he's like, goes right back to Cersei. And it's like, you gave us this redemption story, and then you made that not even matter. Speaking of Cersei, I thought her death was just nowhere near as good as it should have been. I mean, you have this other villain that's been there playing this Game of Thrones. And she just gets killed in a cavern that collapses on her. I thought, that's just lazy right there. It's like, she should have had a much bigger death than what she had. None of the Starks get any redemption, are involved in her death at all, and I thought that was not right. The CGI in this season was almost as bad as it was in season 1 when they didn't have the budget that they have now. Everything that they special effect based looked like it was, you could tell it was on a green screen. What else do I have? It was just, for me, this entire season just felt very rushed, and I feel like it could have been better had they given it more time But no, they had to get through it. And they wanted to be done after this season, and they didn't even want to do a full 10 episode season. Uh, I mean, as a whole, I'd probably give this season. I want to do 5 out of 10, but I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 just to be a little bit nice because I did really enjoy the first 2 episodes of this season. But as a whole, I was just very disappointed. I'm not one of those people that think, oh, we should sign a petition to make him redo this season, and I will enjoy it. This still is one of my favorite shows of all time. I mean, they gave us some great battle sequences. They gave us some really great storytelling. I mean, anytime you liked a character, they were taken away from you for the most part. But as a whole, I just thought it was a poor wrap up. Felt really rushed again. I keep using that word. I apologize, but that was my take on this season. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments below. Like and subscribe to the channel. Is it any good? And I'm Cliff Chance. Thank you.